Good morning, everybody. We'll open the meeting with a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do they need chairs or we don't have any more?
And there's 2 empty seats up front here.
There are a couple of empty seats in here if anybody wants to step inside.
John Palmer, you want to talk about the health board?
Gentlemen, as you know, we've been trying to put our health board together, and the state requires that we have a position on that health board. I had talked to Dr. Porta some weeks in the past, and she wasn't sure that she wanted to serve on the board, but she's since had a change of mind. So I want to introduce Dr. Porta, and I'm here today to ask you to actually approve her going on the health board. It completes what we have, makes the State Board of Health very happy, and to have this position. And if you want to ask her any questions, or?
What's her name? You can't remember the name.
Dr. Lindsay Porta. I wanted you to step up.
Oh, so, yeah, hi, I'm Lindsay, Dr. Porta. We just moved to town, so at first I wasn't sure I was going to be able to know everything that Franklin County would need, but I do think that I've served on plenty of administrative boards and residency and done plenty of committee type work, so I feel like we could do that. So I'm happy to serve and happy to be in town.
Sounds good. You're up at Reid Clinic now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'll make a motion that Ms. Lindsay Porta be our health officer for Franklin County.
No, not health officer, health board member.
Health board member, I'm sorry.
Has the board already given their blessing as well, Dr. Welsh?
Dr. Welsh was aware, and he's all for this. He couldn't be here today. I believe he's in Chicago.
I'll second it.
Okay. And all in favor?
Okay.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes.
Franklin County.
John, you going to do that computer recycling? We periodically in the county go through and replace computers, and one of the things that we've tried to do last year with the Oprah health grant that we had was to try to set some money aside to buy computers to use for training classes and things like that. I think the better choice would be to actually take the computers that we're giving out in each of the offices and recycle those, and have our computer IT guy, for instance, go through and clean them out, make sure there's no information in there, and use those in classes we might hold at the library or so on and so forth to help people learn how better to use the internet and make connections and things like that, especially since we're having widespread connection to the internet now in the county, something we haven't had for a long time. But rather than just having these computers trashed or sent over to recycle, if we can collect all those and then, as I said, have them wiped clean of any county information, then we can use those to do these classes rather than spending more money. Does that make sense?
Do you need a motion to do that?
I would like to make a motion to approve that. That way I can talk to Ramsey and the department heads and basically get the computers stored.
So I'll make a motion to allow John to use these computers, have them cleaned out first, and I'll use them for their, in the library for schooling.
Second motion.
And the price is $22.10. Is that correct?
No, this is different. This is health. There's no paperwork. There's no documentation.
Oh, there's no documentation. So will it be a contract or what?
I'm sorry.
Will it be a contract? You mean for Ramsey to do the work, or? No, I just want to get the computers. We're replacing them. So for instance, if Lisa's computer gets replaced, we would like to have the old one and hold on to that and just have the computer wiped out, make sure there's no county information on it anymore, no personnel information, anything like that. And then be able to use those to teach classes, either at the library or some other location that we might find, to help people understand how better to get on the internet.
So Ramsey will clean it.
Yeah, and I'll talk to Ramsey about that.
The only question I have is who's going to have ownership of the computers once they've been cleaned? Are they going to stay on our asset list, or are they going to be like transferred to the library?
Actually, they should stay on our asset list.
With which department?
Actually, I don't think we're all about that right now.
Because if they leave, they have to come off the asset list. That's what she's talking about.
So wouldn't we be better served to remove those from the asset list, Carla? If we take them off the asset list and transfer the new one in.
Yeah, we definitely bring the new one in. Usually we do take the old one off, but if we're going to recycle it, I just need to know who's actually going to be owning it and whose asset is it going to be.
I would think it would no longer be an asset of the county. We would remove that from the county assets altogether.
If you want to, I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let's just say that we're going to follow up with this, and I'll work with Carla to make sure everything's handled the right way for the county. Because we can go through all the details right now, and I'm sure I'll miss something.
Okay.
That sound good? Okay. Thanks, guys.
Say Holly's not here today.
No, she's not here.
So I guess this is a contract that the recorder has that's been in her office for quite some time. It's for redaction. I think it's on the recorder's budget for $2,210. And Holly has asked us to approve this contract. You guys have questions?
I have a question regarding his back file. The back file redaction scan is open pricing, so we've got redaction services at $22.10, but then there's pricing per page for back file redaction at different volume levels, and I have no idea what that could end up being. So I have questions for her. 3.5 cents per page for back file redaction volume of 1 million pages or more, or 6.5 cents per page for less than 500,000. What are we doing there?
That would be something Holly would have to address, because I do not know.
She has a special fund that pays for this. She collects a special redacting fee, and that's what that money is used for.
For these back scan items as well?
What was that?
For these back scan items as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So she has it in her budget, right?
Right, it's a special fund that's just for that purpose.
That said, I make a motion that we sign Holly's agreement with CSI Computer Systems.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
What are the dates of the contract?
It's a contract that was in effect already that we had not signed off on.
July 1st, 2023 through June 30th through 27th.
July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2027.
I'm sorry, are you signing a contract? I mean, it's 2023, it's 2024 right now. So is that just,
We
You didn't sign it last year?
Nope, we did not sign it last year. She did not present it to us.
Okay, so
Justin?
I think we have in front of you is a contract for Ben Harrison for Bridge 4, Buena Vista Road. They approved it at the last meeting, then just did Form 96 and the suspension of the bargaining agreement.
It looks like all of these Ben's contractor here. This was the approved bid at our last meeting. I'd make a motion that we sign the contract for $148,500 with Ben Harrison Excavating for bridge replacement on Buena Vista Road.
And I'll second that.
All in favor? When's he getting started, Justin, you know?
Probably about 3 weeks. Did a few jobs they're trying to tie up, other contractors. They should be starting on that next.
Does he have any idea how long the road will be closed?
We're shooting for a 90-day closure. Hopefully it's quicker than that. That's what you have to get it done. The ultimate goal is to try and have it back open before school starts again.
Is this an actual contract or just a bid acceptance?
Looks to me like a bid acceptance.
I'm required to actually upload this to the state. I don't see like a beginning and ending term for the contract.
I don't think it's the actual contract. I think it's acceptance of the or the bid.
Contractor's bid for public work.
Yeah, it's not the actual contract.
I just don't know if that's going to be enough for State Board of Accounts to actually pay a claim. Because it doesn't have the terms of how we're paying it or the terms of the contract.
Yeah, I was doing that as well. I thought this just looks like a bid acceptance. I'd like to see whatever contract they have prepared before the contract itself is signed. I think the commissioners have accepted the bid, but I want to see the actual terms of the contract itself.
Yeah, I don't think he's give us that contract yet.
Yeah.
So the bid is accepted.
Yeah.
But we will have a contract card. Justin, 163, Bridge 163.
Last meeting we spoke with Eric here from CSI about the supplemental agreement for the cultural resource analysis that needs to be done on 163. And this is just a contract for that.
So when this is done, will they decide whether it's a historic bridge or no? Once this is done, this survey?
Right, I think it's just part of the process to get to that point.
So the state's going to require this, or SHPO is going to require it to make their determination?
Correct.
So my question is, this supplement, is that for that study? Is that what the additional is?
That is correct. It's for locking in the group to finish that study, I believe, right there.
And that's like $32,000, right?
34,800.
Do you remember what the original contract amount was that this is supplementing?
397.4.
How much?
397.4.
Because isn't this the project that has like an interlocal agreement or something with the town of Oldenburg, and it's some grant that they applied for?
Yes, it is.
Same contract as previously signed, plus the inclusion of the amendment to $34,800, correct, Gary? Same contract as previously signed, plus the amendment, correct?
That is correct, yes.
So now it's $432,200.
Correct. The reason we're signing with Lockmuir Group, they have a special division that will do the cultural resource. They don't have the contract to work with you, so they have to go through us to get that.
Right.
That's why we need the supplement.
Correct. We approved the supplement of 34.8 at the prior meeting. This contract is just amending the prior approved contract plus the addition of the 34.8 supplement that we approved.
That's correct.
So I'd make a motion that we approve supplemental agreement number 1 for bridge number 163.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Oldenburg doesn't have to approve it, right, Derek? Just the county commissioners?
Since it's on the bridge itself, the county commissioners have control of that. Oldenburg has nothing to do with the bridge part.
While they're signing, Justin, tell us about the annual report. I know you've already submitted it.
Yeah, the annual report was due June 1st, it's done, that has the commissioner sign off on the statement, you went over it, you agree with it.
So I know you've been working on getting the mileage straight. Is this the updated amount? 633?
633 is updated for the LTAP, yes.
Any questions for Justin on the annual report? No.
Review the annual report, we make a motion that we approve the annual report as presented by Justin to the highway department.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Justin, real quick before we move on to the next one, any updates on like Duck Creek Road on when they're going to start, or Pocket Road?
Have a pipe they're putting in on Duck Creek Road, finished by Friday. O'Mara is working on getting their plant set up in Derbyshire. He's hoping that in the next 2 weeks we'll be started on Nut Creek. Pocket Road, the culverts have been installed. I'm waiting on one more for that road. Should be here in 2 to 3 weeks, and the paving will start on it probably towards the end of August.
Okay. Veronica, is she here?
Good morning. Just wanted to announce an educational opportunity that we'll have coming up with the Extension Office. So we'll have a pollinator lunch and learn program here in the Commissioner's Room on Tuesday, June 25th from noon to 1. So it'll be similar to our Strawberry Lunch and Learn that we had last month. It went really well, and we had good attendance for that. So we'll do the 30-minute presentation up here and then go down to the garden and do a walkthrough, talk about the pollinator plants that we've been planting and have established over the last couple of years. So it's a free program, open to anyone. If you RSVP by June 20th, we'll have free lunch and water for you. So just wanted to announce the opportunity and invite anyone to attend. And if you're interested in learning more about the community gardens or any of the work that we have going on, anyone here, feel free to contact me, reach out. Do you guys have a copy of the flyer?
Yeah.
And then if anyone else is interested, I have extra copies. Thank you.
Thanks, Veronica. Okay, next thing we got is refund request for the ARPA money for the highway building permit. The way I understand it, you would do a claim, Carla, out of general fund to replace it? Anybody have questions?
I missed any documentation we had on this. What exactly is the dollar amount of the refund?
There was
I
no
didn't hear what you
documentation.
said, John.
I said I missed any documentation that we had on this. What's the dollar amount of the refund?
I believe it's $895 that was paid for the highway addition that was done with ARPA funds. And in the recent months, you guys have waived the fees on other ARPA projects in the county, as well as the state of Indiana. So since we're getting down to the last of the money for that with the projects, we could use, the ARPA could use every bit of money they can towards their projects, especially the animal shelter.
This was a fee charged by the county that we are waiving to benefit ARPA and proceeds that would be used for the animal shelter.
Or any of the ARPA projects, but you did it with the animal shelter, so yeah.
Right.
So I'll make a motion that we do that, do a claim out of the general fund to replace the ARPA money. I didn't agree with the state of Indiana, but I will, this is county money either way you go, so.
I second that.
All in favor?
Also, we have invoice approvals for, one of them is for the animal shelter. I think the other one may be for the park.
That's correct.
For the animal shelter, it's $31,056.33. 63 cents, and the other one's $37,247.32, which is all ARPA money. I'll make a motion to approve those two claims out of ARPA funds.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Next, the moratorium request. You guys have a speaker for that?
As your constituents sit in front of you today, they request a moratorium for 1 year for several reasons that have already been publicly provided to you and also brought up in prior meetings. Today, we want to just reinforce that there are ordinances that need to be revised. One specifically is, when writing this ordinance 2 years ago, it was said that the property value guarantee would be drafted by the county. Have you guys done that?
I don't think it says after so long, doesn't it?
No.
Yeah.
So that was never completed. There are several pieces throughout the ordinance that have not been done. That is a reason for a moratorium. Additional are the studies. As noted in the Gen X letter, it says that the condition to this study will be the benefits to the county. I want to know, when you're discussing with the Reedy group, if you also are having them look at the negatives to the county. What will 1,500 acres of land use towards housing development do for this county? What would 1,500 acres of industrial job growth do to this county versus putting 1,500 acres in solar? So again, will it compare? Will it tell us, depending on how we use that land, where the county can benefit? Will you be looking at the 17 companies within your community who today support the local softball teams, the 4-H auction, the golf outings? Will all of those companies, the impact be considered? Or is it just the benefit for money? Again, these are additional studies that need to be done, and according to the agreement with Gen X, it will only be the benefit to the tax abatement and the property value. Again, reminding you, Bath Township, 50% of that will go to Union County. Will not come to Franklin County. So again, we ask you as members, the majority I think I can say, sit before you today from Springfield, Whitewater, Bath Township, and other townships across this county, asking you to do your due diligence for a year moratorium in which more transparency, because again, your constituents did not know about this. This was advertised as a special meeting. Only upon public records requests were we told the conditions. Clearly there have been conversations with John Palmer, whom did not respond to our public records requests. And so again, this isn't fair to those people you represent to proceed forward in any way without a moratorium and doing your due diligence to the ordinance, the studies, and the impact on your community.
Eric, the contract, can you address that, the parameters of what they will study?
In terms of looking at the contract, and I want to address something from the last meeting, I think it was addressed that Gen X had found this financial company. First off, this Reid is the county's financial company. We already use them, so that's the first thing I just want to correct. I have been in conversations with the attorney for Gen X. I know there were some concerns about the letter on reimbursement and some of the what was perceived as conditions precedent to the money. I've addressed that to them because I believe there was some ambiguity, and they have fixed the letter so that there is no ambiguity now. It is not. There is no ambiguity insofar that they have to approve any sort of abatements or anything like that. The intention of the letter has always been and continues to be, they will reimburse everything up to the point when they can say they will end it, and they won't reimburse, but they have to pay for everything that has happened up to that point. In terms of the analysis that Reid is completing, Reid is engaged with the county, and so Reid is analyzing both pros and cons. So we have not asked them to just say, hey, tell us the pros. We've asked them to tell us what has happened. So that's...
Can I ask, Eric, what impact would a moratorium today have on our agreement with Gen X for reimbursement?
No impact. They under that agreement, they still would pay everything up until they decide not to terminate.
Are we certain of that?
What is it?
Are we certain of that?
Yeah, I mean, what they put forward is very clear. And again, the intention after talking with the attorney, we both have the same understanding of that agreement. So the moratorium does not impact that. Now, they could decide, after hearing of the moratorium, to cut off the repayment, but then the county could also decide to stop the study. Does that make sense?
They're already, I mean, they would turn that around fairly quickly, so they should be.
Exactly. So anything completed before Gen X decides to give their notice under that letter, they have to pay for it. Go ahead.
I just have one additional question to that contract. It does state privileged review, so does that mean that this study will not be released to the public?
I'm not sure what will be released in the long term. In general, when you are engaging in studies and working with economic development contracts, those are things that are privileged.
I think that's kind of crappy when lives are affected. So I encourage you guys to change that, because again, I think you owe it to these guys for them to know what the impact is, because they're giving something up.
Garrett, you have something for me?
So in conversations with Commissioner Wendell, we've not prepared anything yet because I wanted to see specifically what the direction will be. If a moratorium is considered, you would need to make a motion to direct the area planning and zoning to consider that moratorium and prepare the appropriate language consistent with our current zoning code. And they need to make any changes to that zoning code and adopt the language or consider the language themselves and send it to the commissioners. Because we already have the zoning code in place for solar, I guess it was passed a number of years ago. If you direct to make a change to that and to consider the moratorium, it's consistent with what other counties have done, I will prepare a letter. If it's voted on today, I'll prepare a letter directing on behalf of commissioners, directing planning and zoning to take the appropriate steps to consider and deliver to you a moratorium of how long you apply.
Well, based on the concerns, I would like to see at least long enough to study what the impacts are of the other counties that have it. So that would be my motion.
So just so I'm clarifying the motion that's been made. So are you making a motion for, I think we talked a 1-year moratorium on any development of solar, but the other studies can still proceed.
Correct.
Just to clarify, that would not impact our financial position with Gen X if we were to do that?
It would not.
Because I've said to several people, I'm not opposed to a moratorium. My position was that I was not in favor of a moratorium today because we have to approve a zoning change that will be brought before us, again, before anything moves forward. I was not in favor of it today because I felt that that could adversely impact our reimbursement of monies from Gen X that had previously been committed. If we're saying that the moratorium will not impact that.
The only thing that could be impacted is I don't know how far along the study is. And so, again, they have the power to stop from the point that they say stop. They can, any work done prior to that, they have to reimburse. But if there's prospective work, then they have the power not to pay for the prospective work.
Whatever that study says, I have no problem divulging it to the public.
Yeah,
no, I feel everything, and I am honestly in favor of the moratorium. I've got much study work to do, but I'd like to see this thing completed, get our reimbursement from Gen X before we put anything in place for that. I've been very open in saying, when I took office, I was told that everything that needed to be done for solar was done and in place, and all that was left for the commissioners to do was to cash the checks. So I've done no homework on this up until recent events and brought this back up. I've got studying to do before I would vote in favor of solar, but I'm going to ask that we wait on a moratorium until we get this back and be properly reimbursed from GNext. Tom, Commissioner Wilson, and myself have committed to release those findings to the public as well. So that's where I sit on this currently.
What exactly is cash the checks? Did they describe what cash the checks?
Just the income to the county. Right.
I serve on the Franklin County Farm Bureau Board, and every year we survey our members with questions about policy. And this year we had several questions on the solar thing, and I'll just read them to you in the results there. Franklin County Zoning Code. Is Franklin County Zoning Code regarding solar and wind issues adequate? 6 people, we sent out 100, I think almost 700 surveys, and we had 117 replies. So 6 thought it was adequate, 16 thought it was somewhat adequate, 34 didn't know, and 14 thought it was inadequate. The next question about this was, do you support or oppose prime farmland being developed for non-ag purposes? 1 was strongly support, 5 supported, 14 were neutral, 40 were opposed, and 57 were strongly opposed. The next question we asked is, do you support or oppose government money being spent for commercial solar projects on farmland? 2 strongly support, 2 supported, 12 were neutral, 32 opposed, and 69 were strongly opposed. The next one was, do you support or oppose solar projects on prime farmland? 2 supported, strongly supported, 1 supported, 15 were neutral, 27 opposed, and 72 strongly opposed. The next one is, do you support or oppose solar projects on marginal farmland? 2 strongly supported, 1 supported, 31 were neutral, 25 opposed, and 34 were strongly opposed. I have results, so I'll give you, each of you guys, a copy of this. I had them on email, and it didn't print out, so I had to print out the I just want you to know how our constituents felt about it. That's all I have.
Yeah. You forgot to order the
You should have.
You should have. You have a lot of qualifications. So a couple things, Mr. Heiss, I do appreciate your position and explaining your position, but I got a couple questions in regards to that. That does not stop the company from going to asking for a rezone at the next APC meeting. And again, that's not a decision the commissioners make. So this would stop any rezone until we have that study. I understand they can back out, but I think at that point, if they're backing out because we want our time to do due diligence to our constituents, they're not very good neighbors. I don't think we wanted them here.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding was that rezone needed to be brought before the commissioners with approval and to be approved by the Board of Commissioners.
Any rezone's got to be in final approvals for this.
So that's why I'm saying there is in effect a moratorium already until we...
But there's not to your people.
Not in the true words.
Right.
We are getting information. We're working on doing exactly what you guys are requesting, that we're doing some homework right now before we move forward with anything.
My concern is here, if you read this letter very carefully, and maybe your attorney can clarify anything, We would like to request an outside date of August 1st by which the analysis would be issued for privileged review by the county in our concurrent review, contingent upon the provision of all necessary information on the project to you in a timely manner, which final agreement, terms, and necessary public approval to follow. They are looking to start this project in the fall. That is why they put you on a 2-month timeline. Again, this isn't something we are asking you. If you do 6 months, that's fine. But to make the statement to Gen X, we're done with conversation right now because we've got some work to do as a community. And again, I think that helps these people sleep better at night. That takes the pressure off of you because again, nothing stops them from a rezone, going to the BZA, and then coming back to you. And again, I appreciate for you to sit here in public and say, you know, I wouldn't vote for it today, but there's 2 other guys sitting beside you. And so again, that doesn't make anyone here walk out of this room with any comfort. Knowing where our ordinance sits, knowing that there has not been transparency with this. Thank you.
Okay. Jerry has made a motion to put a moratorium after the study, right? After the impact study, or before? We'll get it straight. After the impact study. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, are you finished?
No, go ahead.
Okay, we're talking about solar. I have a comment here. My name is Don Kolb. I own 160 acres just east of Bath, Indiana here. I have been harassed by these people for close to 4 years, and I told them no, no, no. Do we have a map of who is in and who is out on this project, on this proposed project?
We have not seen it.
Okay. This greatly affects every property owner that will be against this if it does go through. My concern is drainage. I have drain tile on my farm that goes into the neighboring farm, which I'm pretty sure is in this proposed solar farm. What if they drive posts through the drain tile on this neighboring farm and I get flooded out? This is a huge problem.
I understand, the maintenance of the project site is a question and a concern that I would have for them. So in clarification on the motion over here, and just to verify here, if the motion is to insert or to place a moratorium upon receipt of the financial study, then that's completion of work and GNX will be responsible.
Yes, unless they see this and they say, no, I know this is going to happen, and they can cancel the contract. But as a procedural note as well, because this would be considered a change to the zoning ordinance, because it's already put in place, you guys can't just, I mean, when you look at these other counties, they have worked in conjunction with planning and zoning. So what you are doing here is directing planning and zoning to prepare the appropriate recommendation to you, either disfavorably or favorably, on the moratorium. So there's still steps that need to be taken after today.
So if the APC tonight comes back out and they want it, then it will be back on their plate to make a decision then too.
Then they could, yeah, APC has the ability to initiate themselves as well. And through the statute, either the commissioners can direct them to prepare appropriate paperwork or to prepare appropriate ordinance changes, or they can start themselves. So this is the commissioners exercising their authority to direct them to bring you a proposal on the moratorium. Now, even if they recommend disfavorably, you can still do the moratorium, but it has to follow that process.
Tom, over here. My question is, who has the final say-so on this, APC or commission?
If it's a rezone, if it's reclassifying, Roy, like from A1 to commercial, then the commissioners would have the final say. But we haven't answered his question yet.
Well, my point is, this does affect all property owners on the outside, and they should be a part of this process to make sure that their concerns are taken care of. If it does go through, and I walk out in my cornfield when it's knee high, like right now, and I find out I'm flooded out, what do I do? That is a concern and should be addressed in this process. Thank you.
What else you got? Oh, I'm sorry, Connie.
Connie Rosenberger, Bath, Indiana. The only comment I would like to make is I'm strongly for the moratorium. If Gen X holds the power to release this money or not release this money, I think we should go ahead with the moratorium because they have held the ball for the entire process. They are dictating to us what needs to happen and what time frame fits their purposes. If we have the moratorium started, at least we know that the process is taking place before we're backed in a corner and have to do something quickly. Gen X has committed the money. Gen X, in good faith, wants this study done by an independent group, so I would think Gen X would continue to fund that if, in fact, they are entering in good faith for this study. So, as a resident of Bath, I am for the moratorium. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Hannah Treadway. My family has lived in Bath, Indiana, my in-laws, for many, many years, as most people sitting in this room. I have my public health degree from my university, and I look at this from a public health standpoint. My fear is if we have these solar panels placed, what's going to happen with the solar dust? Is it going to go in our water? Is it going to breach into the soil? Are we going to be affected personally from it? We can look at phenol, for example. Those are sitting ducks. I don't want my children, who would be a fifth generation in the Bath residence area, I don't want them to be sitting ducks. I hope we get to live out our life there, and I hope everybody here can too, but we want to make sure that our people are healthy. So that's something when we, and I am in approval and hope you are too of the moratorium, so we can also take a look at that as well, not just what it's going to do to the land.
Hi, Kim Ramsey, Bath resident. I'm for the moratorium, but I'm more for a ban. I have, if you don't care, I got a copy of this for you. This is from Butler County Commissioners from 2022. This was brought into Butler County, and they went through this, and Commissioner Dixon decided a full ban on the townships that were zoned for agriculture. He wants to preserve the farmland and put in place a ban. Since it seems very confusing to do a moratorium, why not do a ban for our townships? If this is our neighboring county, if they can do that and protect their farmlands forever, then why can't we do that? So, you already received my email. I'm very upset about this. If you come to Bath and you come down my road, you'll see me outside all the time. There's people that come down my road. You see me outside. I enjoy the view. I enjoy watching the crops. It's beautiful. Mr. Kolb also talked about the drainage. We are going to have severe drainage issues, worse than what we already have if you put this in. Looking at if the solar was to go in and we have fire issues, the water mains out there, they're not going to be able to do anything to put these fires out. If you go around, you look, the fire hydrants are very small, there's only a few. I went and looked the properties that are supposedly going with contract, there's not anything around there that if there was a fire that we could put it out. And if there's nothing to put it out, then it's going to go onto our properties. What is going to be burned from that, it's going to escalate. So, but I would urge you to reach out to Butler County, Don Dixon, Commissioner, and ask, why he went in favor of a ban and get rid of them. That's all, it's ridiculous. Put them in an industrialized zoning area.
I'm Ann, Bath Township resident. I have a few questions. Who's benefiting from the solar? Like, where's the energy traveling to? It's not staying local, right?
Nope.
Okay, where's it going?
West.
To
California, I believe.
I don't know.
There's deserts out there. Why don't they go out there? Why would you not use a desert instead of our high agricultural producing farm ground?
That's right.
Why? Think about that. I know you said you all haven't personally researched the effects. Think about the creeks. Think about the Brookville Lake. What's that going to do? Shoot. I ride my bicycle when I live in Bath to the lake. That's not far. If you think about where these solar panels are going to be in Bath Township, what's it going to do to the lake? How much concrete is going to be permanently put into the ground? How much water is going to be needed to install the concrete and to keep the dust down from installation? I went over to IMI in Oxford, Ohio, and asked them this question, and they guesstimated that concrete would be about 18 inches around, and they thought at least 3 foot deep. So if you look at a solar panel, I don't know how many legs are on it, let's just say 6. Just think about that much concrete in the ground that's hurting Mr. Bulb's field next door. And the dust with Mrs. Treadway's children outside, putting all this stuff in. How many acres are we looking at? Think about all that. What about proprietary equipment being used? Would it make it more difficult for another solar company to service it when the first one goes bankrupt? There's a lot of companies that go bankrupt. We know that. We read it in the news. We hear it. The company that's taken over, are they going to be able to utilize that equipment, or are they going to have to buy new things, or no one's going to be allowed to fix it because they don't have that proprietary equipment need? You ever plan for that? Think about that. And the last thing I want to put in, is this all about money? Just think, they don't print land. You don't print land. You print more money. You can find other ways to make money, but you're not going to print more land in Bath Township or Franklin County. So, this stuff's going out west. Tell them to go out west with it.
Hello, I'm Kendall Burns, and I am a 4-H member and a future property owner. I want to talk to you today because by adding solar to our land, that is taking away not just land for farmers, but also that's how I grew up, and that's how my family is living. And by taking away that, taking away just our heritage. And that's basically all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Just on the moratorium itself, and I understand your concerns. Your attorney seems very confident that we would get paid up to this point. And I know you see a lot of emotion here and everything, and please understand that the reason we want this moratorium is for our peace of mind. I mean, everything everyone's discussed, it's our way of life that's being threatened, and our community overall, which we value a lot. And while a moratorium may seem like a technicality at this moment, us being able to sleep for 6 more months or a year is invaluable. I can't tell you how many people have been to the doctor over this. I mean, the amount of anxiety is high, and it's affecting us now, and a moratorium would at least let us sleep a little longer. Like I said, I understand it may be a technicality to you, but it is peace of mind for us.
Hello?
I'd like to ask you a question, if possible.
Sure.
If you three were sitting right out here with these people,
Can you come to the microphone?
what would your attitude be
Sir,
towards
can
this
you come to the
project?
microphone?
And if
Hold
12
on,
customers...
they just want you to go to the microphone instead of right here.
I'm not public speaker.
You're doing a pretty good job so far. Step up to the mic and continue.
Too much.
No, I'm just curious, if you guys were sitting out here and there were 3 other individuals up there and all this was transpiring, what your take would be on it. And if you had, wherever your property is, if you had 1,200 acres around you that was going to put this solar field in, what would you think? Now, do any of you live close to this area? I know where Jerry lives. Tom, you don't live close.
No.
John, you don't either. So let's give this some serious consideration and maybe do a moratorium temporarily. And that's all I'm going to say about it.
So the motion was made to pass a moratorium allowing Reid to complete the financial study. And as long as, regardless of the impact of GeneX, as long as we have Reid go ahead and complete the financial study so that we can, at some point move forward from a more educated position, then I would also be in favor of a moratorium and second Jerry's motion.
Okay, that wasn't the motion, so you can amend the motion, because the motion was a motion for a 1-year moratorium on any development for solar farms. It didn't have anything to do with Reid.
Yeah.
So are you amending that motion, or what are we doing?
He would have to amend it.
I would amend it to let them do the study, because when I talked to some of the members, that I should have explained that, because we're actually relying on them to give us some good information, and we're not. And they do work for us. So we at least owe, I think we owe it to the public to get that information back. And if it's not good, then it's a good thing to do the moratorium.
So I'm just clarifying, what we're saying is we want a moratorium, but if GenX backs out and says, we're done paying for it, the county is gonna say, we're proceeding with it because we want that information.
No.
No, okay, will you clarify then, just because maybe others didn't understand, I didn't understand.
GenX backs out of the reimbursement study, we would be done, but I don't think that we want to continue with that. John, I want to ask you, what's our situation right now?
Our situation with...
What's our balance of our funds currently?
With the funds to pay for this?
Could we hold $40,000 of ARPA funds pending a decision from GeneX? If we were stuck with this balance, could that money be utilized to pay for this study?
We're getting real close to using all of the ARPA funds at this point. I won't tell you that yes or no, because I don't know, but I'll talk to Carla to find out. But I can say this, that $40,000 is going to take a big hit on ARPA. We started out with a lot of money, but we've used it for a lot of good projects in the county, and we're getting real close. One of the things we have to make sure we finish is the council building, and there's some other things that we have to do. I don't want to commit that we can do that.
When does the new budget come out?
Next year.
Next year.
Is it fiscal year July 1 or is it January 1?
Yeah.
Okay, so the moratorium would still be in place, so that could be allocated and the study could be picked up in January 1.
The only point of clarification is the motion. The motion itself was to limit the development. So all these studies can still proceed. The studies don't need to be mentioned. I'm not comfortable with a conditional moratorium. I don't think those would be enforceable. So I mean, the moratorium on the floor right now, or at least it wasn't, I think there might have been an amendment, but the original motion, as Carla said, was a 1-year moratorium, which would be you sending it to planning and zoning for consideration, and you can still do it even no matter what they consider. But because of the current situation, because we have this ordinance, that's the procedure that I feel comfortable with. So the motion on the floor is a 1-year moratorium on the development, but these studies can still take place. Okay.
I have a question. The APC, under what conditions do they send a favorable or unfavorable recommendation? If Gen X follows the code, they have to do a favorable, or can they just do an unfavorable?
The Gen X order has nothing to do with what the county decides. So you basically are sending this to APC for their consideration, how it fits into the zoning code itself, and then they're to review it and consider our long-term plan that's on file, that was filed in 2010 maybe, the comprehensive plan for the county, as well as the zoning code, and they will give you a favorable, unfavorable recommendation, and then you have the power to then say, I'm accepting the favorable recommendation, or we're rejecting and sending back our own proposal, and we're if they do an unfavorable. So the process makes sense.
Yep.
So procedurally, there has been an amended motion, I believe. There was no second on the original motion. So procedurally, there is a motion on the floor, but I think that motion should either just go back to the original motion if it's considered, or conditional motion. I'm not comfortable with that. When you, number one, we're sending it to APC for consideration, so we may have the Reid study back by then. And so the time frame is what should be done. So it's either a 1 year, 6 month, 2 month. That's what I'm comfortable with.
So if we want to wait for that, return to that study, we have to make a motion to reduce the time limit.
No, if you pass the moratorium, then I suppose you can always come back and say we're voting to end the moratorium. Some of these moratoriums are worded such that, like Boone County, for example, Boone County says it's a 2-year moratorium, or when planning and zoning amends their statute and or comprehensive plan to adequately prepare for solar. So that's why there's some language that needs to go into this, and that's why this process is followed, to go back and forth and make sure it fits within our comprehensive plan.
Well, I would like to see what the study has to say before if I make a motion and have a moratorium, at least if 1 month or 2 months or 3 months as it takes to get that study back, that's what I want it to be.
Okay.
Because I don't want, we can't.
So maybe I'm misunderstanding. Are you asking for a moratorium until we get the study back?
Yes.
Okay, that's different. I must have misunderstood. So I was understanding the motion to be moratorium after the study is received. So.
I mean, we could still do a moratorium after that again, if we don't like what we're finding out.
You can say that until we receive this, but I'm not sure the timing. John may know the timing of this, how close they are, where they're at in the process.
I have not heard how close they are to finishing, but they originally told me that they probably could get it done within 4 weeks, and they probably started that last time you approved it a week or 2 ago. So it's probably about halfway done.
I think there needs to be time in there to review it as well, for it to go out to the public and so forth. So not just the time. So even if nothing else, we prefer a year, because we would like to do other studies as well, and it sounds like the county has some work to do on their part. The APC only meets once a month. And then that, if I believe correctly, if the APC makes a revision to the ordinance, that comes back to you guys to be approved. That was our process last time, correct? Right. So we're a couple months out, regardless of the study, but cleaning up some of the work that we never finished the first time on the ordinance. So again, that's why we're asking for a 1 year. But at minimum, I think we would like 6 months, because that would give us time to get the study back and review it.
Regardless of if the motion is made unconditionally with that time frame, we will get the study back from Reid and be able to review that. They're going to complete the study if the motion is made without conditions.
Yeah. I'm just thinking how to word it. And again, there's time because you're sending something to APC for their consideration. But perhaps if the study's close, it could be a moratorium for 90 days or 6 months, and then consider that for that time.
Darrell, how many meetings would it take you guys to be ready for the APC?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Well, we have a meeting tonight. We would need to have another month to go over the ordinance. We need suggestions from the public what they want, and then we have to put it into the correct wording. And I have to think about a timeline, but 6 months minimum probably to really get, if we make zoning changes to the zoning code, time I get it on my agenda and get the ball moving, and then we got to get the wording. There has to be advertisements, hearings. The motion for a moratorium, I'd have to consult with our attorney to find out whether we can do that tonight or whether we have to have an advertisement and a hearing to do that next month. I don't know the answer to that. Anytime we change the zoning code, Garrett is correct in the correct procedure. Either you can start it, if this is going to be, if the moratorium is a change to the zoning code, and I don't know that because I haven't talked to our attorney. It can start with you guys, or it can start with the APC, with us making a motion to give a recommendation to you about this. Time-wise, give me 6 months would be my recommendation. If we can get it done, if we need to make changes to the comprehensive plan, then it gets a lot more involved and will take a lot more time than that.
And I will speak to that real quick, because there's one line that sticks out when you read the comprehensive plan, and I want to make sure everyone in this room knows exactly where that is at this moment. The comprehensive plan states that protecting our natural resources as well as maintaining the rural and agricultural character of the county in accordance with our comprehensive plan. I don't see how solar fits that. So if you ever think you're going to approve or support this, whether that be economic development, an impact study, I think you got to redo that. And that's the question BZA has to answer. Does it support the comprehensive plan?
Guess I need to amend it again.
Won't you rescind the original motion and make a new one?
Okay, I rescind my original motion and submit a plan to do a moratorium for 6 months to get time for everything to study to be done, people to do their due diligence.
Second that.
Okay, Jerry's made a motion to the 6-month moratorium to get us all the studies done in the APC to get their ducks in a row, and John has seconded.
Just so I have a question on this. So is he sending a recommendation then to APC for a 6-month moratorium until all the studies can be done? Are we actually going to put that in there, change in zoning to include like the impact studies and stuff, or is this just a straight 6-month moratorium?
Well, I'm going to direct them to prepare what they believe needs to be prepared. As I have looked at these other counties, they work very closely on these moratoriums with their board of zoning appeals, their board of zoning. And so the process that I've come from was following the traditional zoning process to pass this moratorium. So we follow the zoning process, but I'll be sending them a letter saying this is what the commissioners are directing them to prepare something to send to us. So basically, the commissioners are starting this process for the moratorium.
You good? You good? With
I'll get it from the recording.
I just want to make one last request, and we know that a lot of constituents couldn't be here today due to travel and work schedules, but we also know a lot of those reached out via email, and so we're requesting that all those emails and letters received become part of the meeting minutes, please.
motion carries.
I have an amended letter from Gen X cleaning up, as I said, basically what the change that they made was striking in the second to last paragraph of their letter. And it's a new date, striking the language approval of the agreement. So I'll ask the commissioners to approve the amended letter from Gen X. I just received that late last night.
And can that go back based on Tom's recommendation of the privileged review, that the word privilege be removed from there? And it just state issued for review by the county so that they can release it and not be any contractual terms?
If we make any changes, then this will not be the agreement.
Yeah, but isn't this ball in our court? Didn't we say that? We are driving this study, they're just paying for it?
I'm just telling you that if we make a change to this agreement, it is no longer an acceptance. It will be then a counter offer to them, and then they have the ability to counter it.
So what happens if Tom gives me a copy of that agreement, or that study, so that we can look at it, because it does say privileged review? Is he violating that then?
I can't. I'm not going to shoot from the hip right now. So I'll be back.
But there's a chance, right? That if we leave that language in there, that it won't be released to the citizens.
I'll be back with you with an answer.
All right.
So we need to approve the amendment to the contract that we had previous with the revision that Gen X has put forward, and I make a motion that we approve the amended contract with Garrett.
And the amended contract says that they will pay no matter what, but they can stop it. Okay.
The amended contract just strikes the word, because there was some ambiguity in the last contract. And so basically it strikes that there was any sort of language that says that they have to, you guys have to approve any sort of abatement agreement.
Yeah.
But they still have the ability, what made me uncomfortable with that is that they still have the ability to terminate, given the appropriate notice.
Yeah. But they still have to pay what's been done so far. Sure. All right. John's made a motion to go ahead and approve the renewed contract. All in favor?
Hi, I'm Debbie Sims. You're talking about the economic benefits. Okay, the only people that are going to benefit from the economics of this are the people that are leasing their ground. And in Bath Township, I don't believe there's more than 10 people doing that. You can see how many people out here are against it, because we're going to suffer through it from if you do go through with the project, putting the things up, bringing in solar panels, bringing in semis, bringing in people to construct things. So bottom line is that none of these people out here are going to benefit from solar panels being on our agricultural land. This brings to mind my husband and I, the Brookville Lake. My husband and his family were bought out for the Brookville Lake with the promise that, boy, if 101 was going to have hotels and restaurants. Took you 50-some years to get a little hotel at the edge of town, and I don't see any restaurants on 101. So why do you think solar panels are going to be economically beneficial for Bath Township, any township, Franklin County, period? Thank you.
Okay. The clerk's, Lisa Rabel's monthly report. I'll make a motion we accept her report for May 2024.
Second Tom's motion to accept the clerk's report.
All in favor?
Okay. Okay, I have the treasurer's report also. Is Jolene here? You don't mind, Jolene?
She's on the line, I think.
Is this,
yeah, I'm here.
Is this settlement or what in there?
Yes, settlement is included in that.
Okay.
We dispersed over $14 million.
Okay, I understand it. I'll make a motion we accept the treasurer's report.
All in favor?
The meeting minutes for the commissioners on the May the 29th, 24. Any additions or corrections?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes for May 29, 2024.
I'll second the resolution.
All in favor? And while they are signing, we have claims, payroll, and payroll deductions to be approved on 6/12/24. Claims of $775,832.66. Lid of $853,376.42. Payroll of $228,452.82. All been attested by the auditor, Carl Diamond. So I'll make a motion to approve claims, lit, and payroll for 6/12.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Anything else? That's it. If there'll be nothing else, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?